Welcome back to our video series, Having Better Client Conversations. This is our third and final installment called Strategies for Collaboration. And in it we discuss how to have our conversations be more interactive and not so one-sided. So let's go over some of the issues that we want to be concerned about or watch out for as we have these interviews. We call them guidelines for productive interviews. We want to establish rapport, right? We want to get started by establishing rapport. What are some of the ways that you establish rapport with somebody as you're just first meeting them?
Commonality.
Okay, we look for areas of common interest, right? Because we always like people who are like us. So if we find something that they say, oh, I've done some of that too, fishing, or we can look around their office or their home. Have you ever done that, walked into their home and kind of seen some things that they have displayed on walls and picked up some of those interests so you can talk about that? Tom, you do that, don't you, right? Julie, I bet you do too, because you walk into their homes. The biggest problem for many people, the rapport time lasts a half hour, 45 minutes, right? And one of the things that we have to be careful of is we can be getting along really well with somebody, and then they run out of time for us to have the interview with them, and then we go too long, and then it's like, well, I really liked Bill, but I wish he'd leave now, because I have someplace to be or something else to do. So be careful that rapport isn't while you're there. It's something you're establishing early and then you're moving on beyond. Number 3, take notes during the interview. Whenever I fail to take notes, I fail to remember 90% of what I need to remember. Because a lot of times I'll do 2, 3 interviews in a row, right? You do that, and now I got to come back and figure out what this one said and that one said, or I do it at the end of the day and I don't get back to it till tomorrow. And boy, it is so clear when I'm sitting there, isn't it? But it is so fuzzy the next day. Vow to talk less and listen more. So when I get into the talking mode, I write SU at the top of my paper. I'll do that in meetings and things. Who knows what SU stands for?
Shut up.
Shut up. And I'm not talking to the other person, I'm talking to me. It's a reminder to me. Shut up once in a while. Okay? Think about the needs of the customer, right? So we can really get ourselves into this thing where we're interrogating them because it's about me and me getting something. Right? So you've always got to be putting yourself in that frame that says, this is all about them. When it's all said and done, all these questions are so I can help them better, not so I can close them. Which is always the challenge that we face between, gee, my goal is to close the deal, but is my goal to close the deal or is it to help this person? Because if I can feel that your major goal is to close this deal, there went rapport, there went me telling you the truth. So it's a real balancing act that we have to work on. Avoid presenting your solution too quickly. I do something and teach something called Save Your Solution. And what I mean by that is you don't have to have an answer right now, today, sitting down. Now there are clients that I work with that their sales process is so squished that they will not, they will not walk out of that house without trying to close them 3 or 4 times. Okay? One of them is a remodeler, they're a window company, right? And their facts show them that if they get out of there without closing the deal, there's another window company coming in next. And they're going to talk to 3 companies and my chances go down 50% if I don't close them there, right? But for most professionals, I'm sure that's not your type of business, and it's not my type of business. So if it isn't that type of business, save your solution. You get to have another meeting. And so a lot of my situations I close by saying, Tom, I really think that we have some solutions for you, but I want to go back and talk to some of my team and put some ideas together so that I really have thought about it. Is that okay with you? And so can we set a time where I can bring back just kind of a working document so we can have a conversation around what we can do to make sure it meets your needs? Absolutely, right? Now, what kind of impression does that leave with Tom?
You care.
I'm going to do something. I'm going to do some work for you, right? I care enough about him to put something together. Now, that something I put together, I probably have 90% of it formulated in my mind because I've done this before.